Days of Our Lives.
Days of Our Lives spoil 'em with Victoria. Sarah's desperate chase ends in heartbreak in the ever-turbulent town of Salem. Family dramas unfold with high stakes and intense emotions. Among the latest and most gripping storylines is the escalating conflict between Xander Kidnaps and Sarah Kidnaps, whose fractured marriage has spiraled into a heartbreaking battle for their young daughter, Victoria Kidnaps. Xander, now out on bail and facing a slew of serious charges, is determined not to lose his precious daughter, no matter the consequences. Sarah, equally determined to protect Victoria, is prepared to do anything necessary to keep her daughter safe. This fierce standoff is rapidly approaching a boiling point, leaving Salem residents anxious and on edge. A broken family, a bitter fight. The once happy union of Sarah and Xander has dissolved dramatically, leaving behind bitterness and mistrust. Sarah, a respected doctor in Salem, fears the impact Xander's chaotic and criminal lifestyle will have on their daughter. Her priority is clear: Victoria's safety and well-being must come first. Xander, however, adamantly believes he deserves a place in his daughter's life despite his many mistakes. With his criminal history stacked against him, Xander is painfully aware that the courts will favor Sarah. His record, already extensive, is now worsened by accusations regarding his involvement in the assault of Philip Kidnaps, further dimming his custody prospects. Yet, Xander remains determined. His fatherly instincts have kicked in fiercely, driving him to desperate measures to maintain his bond with Victoria. The drastic decision: Xander runs away as tensions escalate. Days of Our Lives spoilers suggest Xander will make a drastic, life-changing decision. With no viable legal path to win custody and feeling cornered and desperate, Xander may resort to fleeing Salem with Victoria. Driven by panic and fear of losing his daughter forever, he plots an escape, planning meticulously to vanish beyond Sarah's reach. Xander's heart races as he quietly prepares. He watches for the perfect opportunity, carefully planning the moment when Sarah is distracted. That day comes, and in a flash of heart-wrenching drama, he seizes Victoria and disappears from Salem, leaving behind chaos, fear, and unanswered questions. Sarah's frantic pursuit, a mother's nightmare. The moment Sarah realizes her daughter is missing, terror consumes her. She searches frantically, her professional composure shattered by a mother's desperate anguish. Her pleas to the police and Salem residents are met with shock and urgency. Everyone in town feels her pain, rallying to help in whatever way they can. Despite the community's collective efforts, Sarah faces crushing setbacks. Xander's meticulous planning and cunning evade her every attempt to find him. Each passing moment deepens Sarah's despair, fueling her fears that Victoria may slip beyond her grasp forever. Kate's role in the drama as Salem buzzes with the shocking news. Kate Roberts Brady finds herself embroiled in the unfolding drama. Driven by a desire to avenge her son Philip, who suffered greatly because of Xander, Kate seizes an opportunity to intervene. She cleverly deduces Xander's escape route and confronts him, intending to stall his getaway just long enough for authorities to arrive. A tense standoff ensues, with Kate fearlessly facing Xander, reminding him of the pain he's inflicted on her family. She uses every tactic to stall him, knowing that each minute she buys is crucial. But despite her brave efforts, Xander narrowly slips away again, leaving Kate frustrated and furious. The chase continues. Desperation mounts as Xander flees further away from Salem. Sarah's pursuit becomes increasingly desperate. Each lead she follows ends in disappointment, pushing her emotional strength to its breaking point. Friends and family watch helplessly as Sarah's health and spirit begin to falter under the weight of uncertainty and fear. Meanwhile, Xander, isolated and driven by his determination to keep Victoria, struggles with the consequences of his impulsive decision. He begins questioning whether his drastic actions have truly served Victoria's best interests or selfishly fulfilled his own desires. A town on edge. What comes next? Salem's residents are gripped by this unfolding family tragedy. Speculation spreads wildly. Will Xander reconsider and return Victoria safely? Will Sarah manage a miraculous breakthrough, or will authorities finally catch up to Xander? As tensions rise and the stakes climb higher, Days of Our Lives promises viewers an emotional roller coaster filled with twists and shocking outcomes. In this compelling battle of love, loyalty, and desperation, Salem holds its breath, hoping that this heartbreaking saga will somehow find a peaceful resolution. Stay tuned as the drama continues to unfold in one of Salem's most emotionally charged stories, leaving audiences wondering if Sarah will ever reunite with her beloved daughter, or if Xander's drastic actions will permanently tear this family apart. A mother's grief, a father's desperation. Who's to blame in Xander and Sarah's shattering breakup? In the deeply emotional world of Days of Our Lives, few storylines stir the soul quite like the heartbreaking battle between Xander Kidnaps and Sarah Horton over their daughter, Victoria. What began as a romance filled with passion and unexpected warmth has collapsed into betrayal, fear, and grief. The question viewers now find themselves asking isn't just what's next, but also who's right, and who needs to take the first step toward healing? To understand the pain now tearing this family apart, we must start at the heart of the matter, love. For all his faults, Xander Kidnaps truly loves his daughter. That love, though real, is entangled with anger, pride, and an impulsive streak that has led him down some dangerous roads. Sarah, on the other hand, is the portrait of a devoted mother. A physician, a nurturer, and a woman who has endured Xander's chaos more times than most would tolerate. Sarah's priority has always been Victoria's safety. But when did everything go so terribly wrong? The roots of the conflict. Xander's troubled history speaks for itself. He's committed crimes, formed dangerous alliances, and often allowed emotion to override judgment. His recent alleged assault on Philip Kidnaps has reignited Salem's long-standing doubts about his character. And these doubts are not unfounded. Xander's criminal record is lengthy, and even with claims of reformation, trouble always seems to find him, or rather, he finds it. Sarah's fears aren't paranoid, they're maternal. She knows that love isn't always enough to protect a child. When your partner is facing felony charges and carries a reputation for impulsiveness and violence, asking for distance isn't punishment, it's protection. Still, her decision to shut Xander out of Victoria's life completely is one that deserves its own scrutiny. A desperate act, or an act of love? Xander's decision to run away with Victoria was undeniably drastic and illegal. No matter how deeply he cares for his daughter, kidnapping her and fleeing Salem was an act of desperation, not love. It speaks to a man who feels hopeless, powerless, and fearful of being erased from his child's life. But one must ask, was this the only option left for him? In Xander's eyes, the system was rigged. With a legal record stacked against him and Sarah holding all the moral high ground, he believed he had no chance of a fair custody arrangement. Fear clouded his judgment, and the man who once tried to prove he could be a better person reverted to the Xander of old, reactive, reckless, and dangerous. Still, we cannot overlook the emotional complexity at play here. Many viewers, especially those who've experienced bitter custody battles, can empathize with a parent terrified of losing a child. Xander's choice was wrong, but it wasn't born from malice. It was rooted in fear. Was Sarah right? On the surface, yes. Sarah had every reason to be cautious. As a mother, her number one job is to protect Victoria, even if that means keeping her from a father who's proven himself unstable. Yet, shutting Xander out entirely, without seeking therapy, supervision, or compromise, may have pushed him to the brink. Sometimes, in trying to protect our children, we forget that they deserve to know both parents when it's safe. Could Sarah have explored more peaceful solutions before the situation escalated to this point? Perhaps. But the fear that Xander could endanger Victoria's future isn't irrational, it's rooted in evidence from his past. Who is to blame? There's no easy answer. Both Sarah and Xander acted out of love, but both were blinded by their own pain. Sarah allowed fear and frustration to guide her decisions, and while her instincts were protective, they may have lacked compassion for the father of her child. Xander, meanwhile, let panic and possessiveness lead him into a criminal act that only made things worse. Not just for him, but for the daughter he claimed to be protecting. Who should apologize first? If healing is to begin, someone must take the first step. That burden likely falls on Xander. His decision to kidnap Victoria, no matter the motivation, caused real harm. He endangered his child, betrayed Sarah's trust, and created trauma that could linger for years. An apology from Xander must be sincere and deep, not just for taking Victoria, but for creating a storm of fear and mistrust in her life. Only then can he hope to rebuild the bridges he's burned. But Sarah, too, should consider softening. If Xander truly shows remorse, if he seeks help and proves capable of change, then perhaps there's a path forward, not as lovers, but as co-parents with a shared love for their daughter. Final thoughts. In the emotional theater of Days of Our Lives, few stories cut as deeply as the separation of a family. For older viewers who've lived through decades of drama, love, and loss, this story is not just fiction, it's a reflection of life's messy truths. No one wins in a war of parents. The real victory lies in peace. For Victoria's sake, we can only hope that both Sarah and Xander find a way to forgive, to grow, and to rebuild, not just for themselves, but for the daughter who needs them both.